Now we'll go over some techniques that will enhance your ability to create melodies. The first one is varying your breath pressure. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You're just varying your breath pressure. And what that does is it creates emotion behind the music. And the breath is really a representation of that here. So here's straight without varying breath pressure. It's a little flat line. But if I vary my breath pressure, kind of has some emotion behind it. And it's a lot like singing. You want to sing with inflections, and this breath pressure, varying your breath pressure really adds those inflections into the music or the melody. So that's one technique. The next technique will be what's called tonguing, or the word ta. Ta 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 ta. So you're going to be using that same tongue movement, but without saying the word ta. And what that does is it starts and stops the note, and that's how you're going to create rhythm. One way of creating rhythm is by varying varying the length of time that you hold a note. The other and more distinct way is to use this tonguing technique called or the word ta. And what that sounds like on one note is this. And that's a very poignant way of doing it. We can also do it real softly like this. Just depending on how hard you hit your tongue to the front. And that's going to create some rhythm. And here's an example of creating rhythm. So I'm using that tonguing to kind of create the pace, set the pace. Tonguing between notes is stopping and starting the note is a way of distinctly creating the note or renewing a note. What I mean by renewing a note is I'm playing one note. When I tongue, it renews it. Kind of it refreshes it so that it feels new again. The other technique that's the opposite of tonguing, which is what you've been doing up to now, is called slurring. And that's when you change notes without tonguing in between. Here's a tonguing between notes. Here's slurring. The combination of tonguing and slurring creates your rhythm. The next technique will be some basic fingering techniques. One of them is rolling the finger off in order to bend the note. I tend to roll sideways off the flute. Some people will roll by lifting the finger, but I think sideways tends to be easier for most people. And that's just another way of creating variation in your melodies. The other is fluttering. And then the final way, which is a really important thing, because so far we've just been doing consecutive notes in all the melodies. But at this point, you'll also want to learn how to start jumping notes or skipping notes. And we'll go over that in the next section.